Alright, so hi there. Welcome to yet another Friday with Envy. And as promised, on today's Friday with Envy, we are honoring yet another awesome person of color. Person who is American and considered Black by American standards. And today we are going to read yet another book from Aubrei's book collection. This book is called Dizzy. And it is written by Jonah Winter. It's illustrated by Sean Qualls, and it's a fun book. You ready? Let's go. This is a story of one real cool cat who must have been born with a horn in his hands, judging from the way he played the trumpet. But to tell you the truth, he wasn't born with a horn in his hands. He was born very poor and very tough. Other kids used to beat him up because he was small. He liked to pretend it didn't bother him at all until... one day, he just couldn't take it anymore. He got mad and he got even. He whooped the living tar out of some big bully, and before you knew it, he was fighting all the time. Fighting and fighting just for the sake of it. There was no rhyme nor reason to his fighting. He was always mad. You see, his dad was always beating on him, and there was nothing he could do but to try to be tough and try not to cry. Then, one day, his music teacher gave him a trumpet. He picked it up and blew that thing as hard as he could. That felt good. He took all his anger he felt inside and blasted it out through the end of his horn. It was really loud. He didn't care how it sounded, which was pretty bad at first. He just kept playing and playing day after day until he no longer felt the urge to fight. His dad still whooped him, but with every blow he got from his dad, he blew his trumpet that much more until he was roaring, he was soaring, he was the best musician in his little southern town. Soon, that got boring. Playing notes on a page was what he'd learned to do, but what he wanted to play was a thing called jazz. All over the radio, jazz was the rage. In jazz, you took a melody and played it all different ways. You made up stuff and changed every phrase. It was crazy. If a melody was like a rule, jazz was like breaking the rules, like inventing new rules. Jazz was like getting in trouble. It was fun. For the boy with the horn, fueled with the fire that burned with every whooping, jazz was like a fire extinguisher. It was cool. For the boy with the horn stuck inside a podunk town in the deep south where white folks put you down, jazz was also like a ticket on a train to better days. So he boarded that train and moved up north to a place they call Philly. Right off the bat, he got a job in a jazz band and started acting silly. He'd fall off his chair, kick his feet in the air, flail around willy-nilly, play practical jokes on various folks. On certain nights, he'd elbow the piano man off the bench and play the keyboard with his left hand and the trumpet with his right. The older musicians, they soon got tired of these shenanigans. They wanted him fired. Not a chance, said the boss. This kid's a whiz. Even if he is a little dizzy. Dizzy, said the trombone player. Dizzy, said the drummer. Dizzy, said the rest of the band, and even when Dizzy was a man, that's what he was called. He didn't mind. This fit into his plan, you see, to stand out on the bandstand. But Philly was small time, and Dizzy got bored, so he caught the next train to the town so nice, they named it twice. New York, New York. It was great. What a place. It was crazy. Like jazz, sort of like Dizzy himself, except even crazier. There were cars honking and everyone talking all at once in different languages, people laughing, people shouting. New York broke all the rules, just like Dizzy, just like jazz. It never went to sleep. People were up all night playing music and dancing, and there was Dizzy, horn beneath his arm, soaking it in, the rumble and the roar of the A train and the brass and the saxes and the drums of the jazz clubs. And there was Dizzy, up on stage with the best jazz band of them all. Still, before long he was, you guessed it, shooting spitballs and clowning around, making funny faces, faking football passes behind the back of the band leader while the dude was trying to sing. Partly to get a laugh, but mainly to get noticed. You see, Dizzy knew he'd have to do something really special to get noticed in this band. That's why when it was Dizzy's turn to stand up and play, he played weird sounding notes. He played so high, he played so low, he played so fast, he played diddly diddly bop, dibbly wah wah dibbly. He puffed his cheeks out like this. During breaks and after the show, Dizzy'd be up on the roof with some other hep cats, teaching them this and that, you know, how to play Dizzy, how to play notes that no one had used yet. Here's the thing. Dizzy knew that sooner or later he was going to get fired for being a clown. He didn't care because he was proud. Because somehow, somewhere, the man they called Dizzy had come up with some not-so-dizzy ideas on how to change jazz into something new. And after he lost his job, ooh-bop shabam! Like a preacher, he spread the word of his new jazz rhythms and chords and late-night sessions and late-night clubs where folks would sit, not dance, and listen. Just listen. To the zibbity-bee-bop, z-boy, zee-bop-bop, zilly-beep, zilly-bop, dee-blap, dee-blop, zee-bootin'. Zee-bootin' dee-bop, dee-bop, dee-bop. It was like he had taken a wrecking ball and smashed in the house of jazz till the walls came tumbling down, and in its place he built a new house, the house of cool jazz. Soon his whole name was up in big letters on a sign outside, Dizzy Gillespie. Dizzy Gillespie on top of the world, going, zilly-dee-boo-da-boo, hiddly on his horn. And then if he ran out of notes, he'd say, bebop. That's what Dizzy called this crazy kind of jazz that he had invented just by having the courage to be himself. until the very thing that had gotten into trouble so much, being a clown, breaking all the rules, had become the thing that made him great. His ticket into jazz heaven, where on certain nights, Dizzy Gillespie still shoves the angel Gabriel out of the way and shows him how to play bebop. John Burke's Dizzy Gillespie was born on 1917 in the town of Cheraw, South Carolina. As a child, he fooled around on the piano from a very young age and then picked up the trumpet when he was 13. Around this time, he also started listening to jazz on the radio and dreaming of someday becoming a jazz musician himself. The kind of jazz he listened to was called swing, and it was played by big bands for people to dance to. When Dizzy moved up north, swing music was still pretty much the only kind of jazz that jazz musicians played, and so Dizzy joined a swing band and played it too. He was such a brilliant jazz trumpeter that he made it into one of the most famous bands in history, the Cab Calloway Orchestra. This was in 1939. It was around this time that he started getting bored with swing music and began concocting some of his very own far-out musical ideas. He tried them out in the Cab Calloway Band during his solos, which had a lot of notes and didn't sound like anything anyone had ever played before. Sometimes he got lost in the middle of them and would just stop playing and start laughing. This clowning around got him fired, at which point he started writing his own tunes and playing them with small groups of other jazz musicians who were also bored with swing and playing for dances. The music he wrote and played with these musicians, including the great saxophonist Charlie Parker and brilliant pianist Thelonious Monk, was revolutionary, unlike anything that anyone had ever done. To many people's ears, it sounded too complicated, too weird, not melodic enough. You couldn't dance to it, but by the 1950s, it had taken over jazz. It was, of course, called bebop. Dizzy Gillespie not only invented bebop, he trained many of the young jazz musicians of the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Throughout his very full musical career, he was a great role model, not just musically, but in his personal life. Unlike many famous jazz musicians, he never used drugs, and he was married to the same woman, Lorraine, his whole life. And up until his death in 1993, he proceeded through the world with a sense of fun and joy. I hope you enjoyed Dizzy by Jonah Winter and Sean Qualls, and prayerfully, if this book has lit your fire, you've learned something, you'll go on out and buy it. It's a great book. It's a great book, especially if you can do the bebop at the end. It's fun. Okay, so next week it will continue to be Black History Month, I think, and so I shall read yet another book, if Aubrei will let me. She's very protective of her books, as she should be. Books are awesome. Happy Black History Month!